Kuro's done with their listening, at least when it comes to leaks. The official Wuthering Waves developer Twitter just posted some very spicy news regarding the actions they're taking and have already started taking against the unauthorized distribution of their content. They're not playing games. Things like more rigid and formal warnings, collaboration with content sharing platforms to remove material, and perhaps most extensive of all, ongoing legal proceedings in the court of law. Considering the previous community post earlier in September directly warning the player base about leaks, it's safe to say that many saw this nuclear follow-up coming. Some could say that Kuro is going a bit too far with these actions. There are many across the community that believe that leaks drive an incredible amount of marketing and exposure through republished content and word of mouth. They're not wrong. Leaking a highly anticipated character's kit drives a ton of views and engagement, but content like this isn't a win-win situation for the developers. There's a lot of reasons for why leaks can be so detrimental to the development and release of a new version. It could be major spoilers of massive story developments, overexposure of work that's still in the middle of development, or the disruption of typical content when new versions release. There are many downstream implications for big leaks that heavily damage the perception of the final product that these devs are trying to release. If the pros for leaks really outweighed the cons, why would the developers make a statement like this? Why would they make it twice? Why would the developers do this when they have all the insight and data when it comes to their engagement, marketing, and performance? Today we'll be taking the time to dissect this absolutely gigantic statement to break down what prompted such an aggressive stance towards leaks by Kuro Games. When there's hype or engagement made from previews of leaked materials, that isn't free. That just means that the actual release, backed by expensive productions like live streams and version trailers, has less hype and engagement than it normally would. And that is bad for developers. As always, if you're enjoying this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Kuro's tense relationship with leakers started all the way back to the launch of the game. The game's second version and very first beta, 1.1, had its pre-release tainted by leaks across every type of avenue imaginable. Extremely early character leaks intricately describing the kits and numbers of Jinxi and Chong-Li, who undoubtedly experienced multiple rounds of balancing changes, a complete exposure of story cutscenes, pivotal plot development, and even unfinished assets. And of course, at the center of it all, the algorithms of YouTube and Twitter blasting this content as far and wide as possible. Because it's new, it's exciting, it gets views, and most importantly, ad revenue for these platforms. What this meant was that the developers, the people who had been spending months carefully crafting this content based off user research, meticulous design processes, and numbers balancing, weren't able to deliver the first impression that they wanted to. Not in their first version update, nor for any future one after that. It should be clear why this is a bad thing. These developers, with these betas, are looking for feedback on their work to see what can be improved, what needs to be toned back, and how they can make the overall experience better. They could be experimenting with new mechanics to see how they feel in gameplay. They might be showing off unfinished assets or incomplete descriptions, or even things that might not make it into the final cut. The fact of the matter is that leakers revealing all of this info so early on in development can easily create warped expectations for the final product that the developers never intended in the first place. If all of their work in progress is getting exposed, that could mean Kuro now feels the need for more polish across their betas. Rather than a rough draft of the update, they're instead pressured to bring something much closer to the final product to their test servers, severely limiting the potential for experimentation across kits. They can't test a new feature that might be risky or negatively received because they'll be immediately exposed to the public and draw outrage or criticism, even though improving on that is the point of these betas. You see it all the time across other gacha titles, especially in games like Honkai Star Rail, with releases like Zhao Kui or Rappa having some of the worst public perceptions across the player base prior to their release, despite having some of the highest power levels in-game. That's because of the bastardized first impression that their early beta kits made on the player base, and all of that was because of leaks. It's clear from these prior examples that leaks shouldn't be the deciding factor when it comes to pulling or saving for a character. Drip marketing is there for a a reason, and leakers are so bad at theory crafting and numbers are changing so much that you can't accurately gauge power levels either. Wuthering Waves and Kuro Games, however, are impacted far more than Honkai Star Rail when it comes to their character leaks. That's because, from a simple gameplay and animation perspective, there's a lot more that goes into Wuwa's release. Every character in Wuthering Waves has a massive amount of unique animations. You can see them across every individual attack, recovery animations following those attacks, and of course, every ability in their kit, with some characters even having 2 animations built into one ability based off their Forte circuit, or active updates to their model across gameplay. There's a reason why Kuro, in their message to leakers, emphasizes the incredible amount of time that goes into their character development. There's a huge amount of care that goes into their visual design and aesthetic feel, with multiple teams collaborating towards one goal. These people should be the ones who get to decide how their character gets promoted. They decide when the product is finished and ready for the public, after implementing feedback from their previous rounds of testing. Not some leaker or leaker adjacent looking to farm clout and engagement. When somebody leaks or actively disseminates leaks across content platforms, you have to think about what their motives are. These people know they're taking hype away from the actual release. They know they're doing a disservice to a character's first impressions. They know they're actively hurting or minimizing the months of work these developers have put in. When people make this type of content, especially on YouTube, their goal isn't to give you an informed overview on a pre-release character before you pull. These kits and mechanics change far too much across any beta for any of this speculation to be helpful. These people are just trying to get clicks, views, and money by either breaking the law or distributing the products of broken laws. These are people that are looking to get ahead in the game by operating with complete dishonesty and disregard for the developers making their game. It's nothing short of incredibly selfish, especially when some of these quote-unquote CCs operate with the knowledge that other creators, the ones with morals, are actively avoiding this type of content altogether. Having all of this content heavily promoted by the YouTube algorithm disrupts views for Kuro Games, content creators who are playing by the rules, and perhaps most importantly of all, the creator programs sponsored by Kuro themselves. If you're somebody who wants more creative Wuwa content, things like story overviews, lore breakdowns, or other unique ideas, that type of content is getting pushed down by leaks. Those creators aren't able to get the views or engagement to succeed in these programs because there's so many leaks clogging the algorithm. And when creators don't get results, they stop making content. These leaks do a lot more damage to the game's ecosystem than you think. Kuro's doing a massive service for more than just themselves by taking this stance against leaks. They're helping the entire community, and we can only hope that the community responds in kind. As always, if you enjoyed this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Peace out.